Hello, my name is Tony Dong. Ivanka Trump keeps quiet on dad's tweets assailing TV host Washington. Ivanka Trump has been vocal in using her White House role to advocate for women. But when President Donald Trump lobbed a demeaning attack on a female TV host on Twitter this week, his daughter and senior advisor kept quiet. It was a moment of silence that spoke to the challenges and calculations Ivanka Trump faces as she tries to promote family-friendly policies in an administration led by a man whose comments about women have made women cringe and drawn bipartisan rebuke. In recent weeks, the younger Trump has discussed family leave with lawmakers, traveled to promote job training efforts, and spoken out against human trafficking. She's also tried to position herself as above the political fray, saying in one interview that she tries to stay out of politics, and in another that she's been surprised by the level of viciousness in Washington politics. The tussle between her father and Morning Joe co-hosts Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough offered a pointed reminder to Ivanka Trump that this is a city where it's impossible to separate policy and politics. The MSNBC host, in a Washington Post column Friday, called on women close to the president to condemn him for questioning Brzezinski's intelligence and saying that she was bleeding badly from a facelift in a December. It would be the height of hypocrisy to claim the mantle of women's empowerment while allowing a family member to continue such abusive conduct, Brzezinski and Scarborough wrote. Ivanka Trump did not respond to questions about the president's tweet or how it affects her policy efforts. While she has won some praise for trying to tackle complex issues that are not traditionally high on the Republican agenda, such as paid family leave and child care expenses, liberal advocates said her recent evasion tactics were not helpful in building bipartisan bridges. Moments like this make it much harder for advocates that have spent decades fighting gender stereotypes and discrimination and advancing women's equality to view her as a potential ally, says Vicky Szabo, vice president of the National Partnership for Women Families. Said Demli's list president Stephanie Shriok, she's never been one who stood up when it mattered most. The administration has already been criticized for the limited number of women in top positions. And the White House Council for Women and Girls, established under President Barack Obama to ensure women are considered in policymaking, has not been active under Trump. Following a report in Politico that the administration was reviewing whether to keep the council, a senior administration official said there are plans to keep it in place, though details and timing still are being worked out. The official was not authorized to discuss internal thinking on the matter on the record. Earlier this week, Ivanka Trump appeared at a State Department ceremony unveiling an annual U.S. report on human trafficking, sounding a clarion call into action in defense of the vulnerable and the exploited. At the same time, however, she has come under criticism for harsh conditions at a Chinese company that produces shoes for her fashion brand and others. All of these moments have contributed to Ivanka Trump's real-time political education. Embracing advocacy for women as her central focus, she stepped away from executive roles at the Trump Organization and running her own brand to join the administration. Last week she traveled to Capitol Hill to meet with Republican lawmakers on family-friendly tax policies and paid parental leave. While her goal of a national family leave program has limited backing, some more modest tax policies could be included in a Republican tax overhaul effort. To further her priorities, Ivanka Trump has quietly reached out to Democrats. In May, she met with Democratic Sen. Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, a vocal advocate for paid leave, according to a public calendar on Gillibrand's website. The two have not spoken since, said a Gillibrand aide, who was not authorized to speak publicly about the meeting. Before Thursday's tweet from the president about Brzezinski, Ivanka Trump provided a statement to the AP about her paid leave efforts. She said that a national paid family leave plan is a critical piece of the administration's working families agenda. She added, "The legislative process takes time, but I am committed to working with legislative leaders to build coalitions of support for policies that empower American working families and enable them to thrive. Despite Donald Trump's history of offensive comments about women, Ivanka Trump has defended her father as a supporter of women. Speaking on a panel at a women's conference in Berlin earlier this year, she described her father as a tremendous champion of supporting families, a statement which drew groans and hisses. In this November 29, 2016 file photo, Mikhail Brzezinski waits for an elevator in the lobby at Trump Tower, Tuesday, November 29, 2016, in New York. President Donald Trump has used a series of tweets to go after Mikhail Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, who have criticized Trump on their MSNBC show Morning Joe. Evan Vachiape photo. Thank you for watching. For the follow-up, subscribe to the channel yourself here. Story outing their relationship. Is this who you campaign for, Marsha? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Thank you for watching. For the follow-up, subscribe to the channel yourself here. Lisa Murkowski, Alaska, another skeptic of the GOP health bill, tweeted, "Stop it. The presidential platform should be used for more than bringing people down." Conservative commentator Laura Ingraham sent out a tweet chastising the White House's message "Discipline today." All Combs coming out to WHSHDB focused on Kate's Law and no sanctuary for criminals act, not cable TV hosts. GOP strategist Rick Tyler, a former communications aide to Texas Sen. Ted Cruz's White House bid, told Politico that Trump's tweets have zero benefit and criticized the administration's defense of them as childish. Republicans will arrive at the 2018 elections with absolutely no accomplishments and nothing to run on, Tyler said. In order to effect large-scale public policy change through legislation, you have to have a communication strategy to convince the country that the direction you're going is somewhere they'd like to go. While Trump's attack on Thursday morning provoked a big response, the Morning Joe hosts have a notorious love-hate relationship with the president. During the 2016 campaign, Trump was a frequent calling guest to the show and as recently as March retained Joe Scarborough's advice on matters before addressing Congress. But the MSNBC show has also faced criticism for being too cozy with the administration. In a Vanity Fair report from May on the co-host's recent engagement, the couple acknowledged meeting with the president more than a week after his inauguration, where Trump reportedly suggested they have their wedding at Mar-a-Lago or the White House. According to Scarborough, Trump even suggested he could be the one to marry them. Scarborough and Brzezinski have since become increasingly critical of the president, and Trump has repeatedly attacked them on Twitter, but Thursday's messages marked a new low. Brzezinski responded to Trump shortly after his tweets on Thursday with her own post of a Cheerios box detailing a child and the slogan "Made for Little Hands," a seemingly pointed reference to the campaign trail during which Trump's hand size was often targeted. MSNBC, meanwhile, was direct and unsparing in its criticism. It's a sad day for America when the president spends his time bullying, lying and spewing petty personal attacks instead of doing his job, an MSNBC spokesperson said, echoing a similar sentiment from the organization's spokesman Mark Kornbly, who tweeted that he never imagined. "I would think to myself, it is beneath my dignity to respond to the President of the United States." It was not immediately clear what specific comments set off the Twitter attacks this morning, but Brzezinski did hit the president this morning on lying and destroying the country. Nothing makes a man feel better than making a fake cover of a magazine about himself, lying every day and destroying the country, Brzezinski said in reference to a Washington Post report that alleges a fabricated Time magazine cover photo featuring Trump is hanging in at least 5 of his golf clubs. Also, on Tuesday's episode of Morning Joe, Brzezinski and Scarborough went back and forth on Trump's hand size and his onslaught of media-focused tweets of late. That's a very small person, Brzezinski said. I work in cable news and I can't tell you that's sad, pathetic. Think bigger, Scarborough countered, adding that while the worst healthcare strategy ever rages, Trump's talking about the media. Keep on being small, Brzezinski said. Tiny. That's the word, Scarborough corrected. On the campaign trail, the president was often criticized for his treatment of women, most notably after the infamous Access Hollywood tape in which Trump can be heard bragging about sexually assaulting women. And in a bizarre moment on Tuesday, while on the phone with Ireland's new Prime Minister, Trump called forward an Irish journalist to comment on her smile. Despite the furore around his tweets on Thursday, Trump did get some support outside of the White House. Fox News primetime host and frequent Trump defender Sean Hannity tweeted various links to Morning Joe-related coverage. Maybe Liberal Joe should stop calling the POTUS a schmuck, a liar, a thug and mentally unhinged. Were they kissing POTUS acid Xmas? Yes, he tweeted. Sen. Richard Shelby Arala also appeared to defend the president, noting that he's dealing with an adversarial news media. The media is salting him every day, Shelby said. I guess he's fighting back. Other lawmakers, however, said they were trying to tune it out. Sen. Ron Johnson R-Wise said he didn't want to talk about the president's tweets because he's trying to stay positive. If you don't have something nice to say nothing at all, Johnson said. The American people need us to be focused on health care and tax reform, not Twitter fights and cable news, Sen. Tim Scott RSC said on Twitter. Former Florida Gov. Jeb Bush, who unsuccessfully ran for president in 2006.